Hello, everybody, and welcome to MTU Esports. Today we have a bit of a different type of stream for you. Today we had a scheduled match for Call of Duty against San Jose State. Unfortunately, they chose to forfeit. So instead of doing our usual game day, we're going to do a bit of a season recap for all 5 of our teams that we're covering over the course of this semester. I'm Jake, I go by Scrimby, and I'm joined by
Nick, I go by One.
All right. And we're going to just go ahead and start with our Monday games. So first up, we have Rocket League, who has been off to an incredible start this season. 3-0 in their conference so far, technically 4-0 if you count a forfeit win from a team that dropped out in their conference. 2 sweeps and a 3-1 in best-of-5 series is an incredible start to their year.
Yeah, I mean, really, those first 2 games, they were pretty dominant. There wasn't a whole lot of competition there. In that second game, it had the third game had a bit of a rough start, but after that first loss, they won the next 3 in a pretty dominant fashion.
Yeah, it was something where it was a close game 1 loss that Rowan got off to a hot start and just managed to hold out the lead. But then after that, the Rocket League team just huddled up and just took 3 quick wins. So that kind of momentum is a huge thing, making sure that you can pick up after a loss and just immediately turn around and make plays like that. That's something that's really nice to have in your back pocket when the going gets rough early in a set.
For sure.
Yeah. But yeah, all 3 players, I mean, Carrot just got called up to the varsity roster. The team chemistry there has been going really well so far. So it'll be really exciting to see how they shake out as they go into some tougher matches next week. We'll get back to that in a little while. But after that, we have the Smash Ultimate team, which is a pretty similar story. They're also sitting at 3-0, but for them, all 3 are sweeps.
Yeah. And really, we've had a couple of pretty strong showings from 3 specific players, a different one in each week. Week 1, we had Ethan with taking all 12 stocks in one game from the opposing team. And then week 2, we had Luke, the captain, taking 8 stocks in a row. And week 3, freshman Malachi Enter made his debut, and he took all 12 stocks from the enemy team in one game as well.
Yeah, and that's a ridiculous thing to put up in your debut game, just going out and immediately just wiping the entire team. You can't ask for more than that out of a freshman, especially. Just
Definitely
an
not.
incredible start to hopefully a very fruitful Smash career here. But, I mean, they're off to an incredible start, and the question at this point is really, is anybody in their conference going to be able to slow them down? Because with how hot of a start they've been off to, they've beaten some pretty big schools, too. Like, Creighton's got a solid squad. UT Tyler's been looking pretty good. Yeah. So this is a really exceptional start for Smash.
Right, and you can already see just the depth that roster has with each player having their moments and just really performing at the highest level.
Yeah. Real quick, if you are a tech student and if you're looking for a place to stay next year, we have the places for that. Live where you want to live. Find the perfect location. Go check out HoughtonForRent.com, and thank you to Bradway Enterprises for sponsoring tonight's stream. I think that their housing applications are either open now or will be soon. So if you're looking for a place next year, make sure you get on that quick. Those houses go quickly. But looking at the rest of the rosters here, going into Valorant now, which is a bit of a different story, but their season's also quite a bit earlier than the others. They've only played 1 actual game so far, which unfortunately was a sweep against Cumberland, but Cumberland is an incredible school in their own. They're an excellent Valorant program, so maybe a bit too early to tell what the season looks like for Valorant.
Yeah, unfortunately, week 1 for them was a forfeit, so they were really hoping for kind of a game to see how they work together as a team, see what needs to be improved, and they didn't get that immediately, so kind of waiting until that week 2 game, and unfortunately, it didn't go our way.
And yeah, their week 2 matchup, that will be next week. They're taking on Stony Brook in that one. Stony Brook, they're one of those schools where they've got some exceptional rosters and some rosters that you're able to beat. So seeing where their Valorant team lies this year is definitely going to be an interesting thing to see, but definitely looking forward to seeing how the Valorant team responds because, I mean, I talked about it a lot in the Rocket League set earlier this week. Adversity is something that helps build a team up, and when teams find a way to respond and get back on the board quickly, that's how you know you've got something special brewing there.
For sure.
So looking at our Wednesday game, we have Overwatch, who is off to another great start here. 2-0, 2 sweeps.
Yeah.
Really nice start for their season.
Yeah. Both of those games as well. Sweeps, just really impressive showings from a couple of players there. Kind of every team fight that happened in those games really quickly went to Michigan Tech's side, and there just hasn't been much competition for them in their games yet.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's going to be really interesting to see because looking at their schedule, it does seem really backloaded to me. They have RIT in 2 weeks, and then Stony Brook and Cumberland are their final 2 regular season games, and they are some powerhouses in Overwatch. So I think that the last couple weeks of the regular season are going to be the real litmus test for this team and see just how much of a push they can make at a national level.
For sure.
And then finally, to round it out, we are going to have a quick interview with Max, also known as Scuba, the captain of the Call of Duty team, in just a bit. But briefly glancing at the record, currently the COD team is sitting at 2-0, although technically now 1-2 due to the forfeit win against San Jose State. But a lot of things to talk about there that we'll bring Scuba on for in just a little bit. Yeah. But before we do that, we have another quick sponsor to thank. If you are looking for some authentic Michigan Tech Huskies apparel, University Images is the place to look. It's university-owned, university-operated. University Images located right here in the SDC, or go check out bookstore.mtu.edu. If you want to pick up some official Michigan Tech merch, they are selling the new Michigan Tech Esports jerseys, by the way. They're awesome. Check them out. But with that, I think we are ready for our interview, so we're going to cut to a quick intermission. Thank you so much for joining me on camera for a little bit here. But we'll have that interview with Scuba coming up in just a bit. Welcome back, everybody. I am here joined by Max, also known as Scuba. Thank you for joining us on the broadcast today. So, bit of an unfortunate way to start the season, starting off 0-2. But do you have anything that you've seen in those first 2 series so far that you're really looking forward to building on going into next week's matchup?
Oh yeah, definitely. So we have a totally fresh team this year, and unfortunately we don't have the highest ranks that we'd like to have, but we are working to get better every week. We got swept the first week, but after that we went back to the VOD and back to training, and we put some points on the board. We were looking really well in Rio S&D, and we're really just looking to get better every single week and not let anything get to us.
Yeah, that is something I wanted to talk about, is that Rio game in week 2. I mean, you were getting some really nice solid pushes there against that Newberry defense especially. Just taking that momentum, do you think that this is a team that's going to be favoring the slower game modes, like more of your S&D and a little bit more control point than hard point, just like giving yourself an opportunity to get set, try to analyze the other team's setup? Or are you trying to get this team more into like a blitzing mindset to where like they're going to just run in and just solo a hard point, basically?
No, I think historically Michigan Tech Call of Duty has just been a lot better at S&D with the tactics and the teamwork. Control has been, a little iffy, but then hard point has usually been a struggle for us trying to play that fast. Usually we're playing with some very good players with like a lot of culture points that we're looking for, but maybe we just don't have that team cohesion that we'd like to on hard point. So we have focused a lot of our timing on S&D, and as you could see, we had like just a few mistakes that cost us that round, but overall it was a lot to learn from, and it was great to put some points on the board.
Yeah, exactly. And this isn't an overnight thing either. Developing that team chemistry, it just takes time. So coming up with new players on your roster, things like that, it's not going to be an overnight thing. But still, it's really nice to see that progress starting to build, especially in that S&D. And if you can get more comfortable in that mode, I mean, if you start to push game fives are S&D.
Exactly.
So that's a nice way to have a ringer in a series and just try to take that lead right back. But then looking to next week, you're taking on RIT, which is another one of these really big powerhouse teams. So just what have you been doing to prep, try to get back on the scoreboard in a nice way going into this matchup?
Yeah, just looking at our VOD, trying to learn everything that we can. Obviously playing a lot together is really what we can do. And for next week, with RIT being a powerhouse, every single team that we're playing this season is going to be really good. So our main goal is to focus on ourselves and what we can do. And then when we're in the match, you're not seeing any ranks, you're not seeing any levels. It's just 4 players against 4 players. So that's really what we try to focus on.
All right. Well, Scuba, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. Good luck in your game next week. And for those of you at home, that is going to be the stream. We're going to quickly go over next week's schedule, and then we're going to be signing off for the evening. So on Monday, as usual, we have our doubleheader. We're going to have Rocket League at 7 o'clock taking on Seton Hall. That's going to be probably their toughest match yet, so be sure to stay tuned for that one. And then Smash Ultimate at 8:30 is going to be taking on DePaul University. On Tuesday, Valorant's going to be back for their second game against St. John's University, so we'll see how that goes for the Valorant team. Then on Wednesday, Overwatch 2 looks to stay undefeated. They're going to be taking on RIT as well at 7 o'clock. And then on Thursday, the COD team will be going up against RIT and looking to get that win on the board. Again, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. Thank you to our sponsors and all of you watching at home. I've been Scrimby, joined by Scuba. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Go Huskies.